Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where we need to get a number of things finished here. Not that. We need to not be rotated like that. But what we need to do is we need to get these walls finished up over here. That needs to happen. There's a home going in up here that's hopefully going to help that. We need to get our royal palace finished, and we need to upgrade at least 3 of our noble compounds up to modest estates. So this one here needs maze. This one also needs maze in order to develop. Now, we just got these started, and hopefully they'll start getting some production online eventually. We will see when that ends up actually happening, but that should get us more maze production, which will hopefully help with that. This one down over here needs more diversion. Now, we have an alcove right here, and that needs artwork in order to get finished. So that's understood. That's going to take a little bit of time. And then we've got a noble compound out over here that needs access to more security. So we have a sentry post being built here. Eventually. It'll eventually happen. Now, I want to go around and enable Pulk in our markets. We no longer need to have this disabled because we previously had it disabled for purposes of the sacrifices for the grand ceremony, which we no longer need. So we'll enable Pulk in all of these markets. It was enabled in that one, apparently. So there's this one here. Yep, it's enabled there. That looks good. Okay, so that's fantastic. Now, we need to get our might up a little bit higher. We may want to consider building a fortress somewhere. These do provide security. So a fortress down here, if we could find a place to squeeze one in, maybe wouldn't be the worst idea. I wonder if one could fit here. Let's see, that would be in here. So a fortress, not quite. Okay, we could fit one up here, theoretically, but I don't know that that's actually useful, to be honest. For now, we'll watch that might and see what it's doing. Just building the royal palace might get us there, or bumping up the conscripts here for our barracks might do it as well. We'll see. For now, this is relatively okay. Oh, right, I completely forgot about these nerds. I knew I would. Yeah, completely and totally forgot about them attacking us. Why? Why are you exiting the walls? Any particular reason? Don't do it. Just stay up here, make them come to you. Okay, they're starting to flee, so that looks good. So there we go. I was going to say, surprisingly, it didn't tell us the enemies were beaten. But let's just go ahead and disband these guys, and they will head on back. Just making sure that these don't recover, I guess. But yeah, that looks great. So that's understood. This is a small market going in here. That should be reasonably fine. So this down over here still needs access to more diversion. Now, this mason yard is at 0 of 3 masons. So we're at 5 out of 8 commoners here, 8 of 8, 6 of 8, 3 of 8, 5 of 8, 7 of 8, 4, 4. I feel like we don't really need additional housing in this area. I feel like we just need to wait for people to move in. So that's reasonably fine. Down over this way, this porter yard is now finished. So that should mean that we get these finished up eventually anyway. Do we have a... We have a couple of breweries down here. Okay. I'm just wondering how much artwork we have. Okay. 15 spearmen, 120 stone, and 50 weapons per year. Well, that's a little rude. Let's drop down our timber, and let's bump up our weapons. And 120 stone. So we need to jump down our timber again and bring our stone up to here. Okay. Well, that's definitely not ideal. I think that we should probably consider getting a couple of additional blade nappers. This is obsidian and timber. Okay. So I'm thinking blade nappers maybe up over here. And we could have this be set to also pull in some obsidian. Although, that's not really ideal, is it? Maybe this border yard would be better for that. Yeah, I think it would be. So we would bring in some obsidian up here. This can come from anywhere. And then we can run a stone road, because this is in this like noble district up here. We can run a stone road down kind of like this. And we can put some blade nappers up over here, would be the idea. So then this would be a pair of blade nappers like this. That terrain is blocked. Okay, so a pair of blade nappers like that. And then maybe even a pair of armorers, like one here and one here. So then this border yard would also be wanting to balance some cloth up here. And we got this cotton weaver here, so that looks good. Do we have enough housing here for this? That might actually be a concern. So we're going to go ahead and put in a common home, possibly up over here. Yeah, that's going to remove a couple of trees, but we'll do that for now. Okay, so that seems fine. Our royal palace will eventually be completed. It looks like this farmer's hut is now actually online and is working. That looks good. This farmer's hut, we still don't have 2 farmers here. So that's a little awkward. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. Now, this alcove, 4 out of 7 commoners. Okay, we've got plenty of commoner housing here. We're mostly just waiting for the artwork there. So, yeah, that's going to take a little while. I still feel like we don't really need more housing over here, but maybe we actually do. We could put in a common home here, or actually here might be better. That would allow us to run a road out this direction and be able to do some stuff up over here. So let's do that for now. We'll put in a home here, and that will hopefully reach some of this. Actually, it'll reach all of that. So that looks good. And then this up over here, what's wrong with this? The citizens here would prefer a home closer to their place of work, which hinders development. I don't know where they're working, but they're not actually farmers. Maybe they should become farmers. Okay. But that also means we could put in some extra jobs out over this way, right? So what would that end up looking like? I'm thinking about... We've got a sentry post here. We could put another sentry post up over here. So that would be in here. So a sweeper and a sentry post up over here might not be a terrible idea. So like that and like that. Cool. So that seems reasonably good for now. Our population is very close to our target population at this point. So that looks good. Our prosperity is really not great. I hope. We'll hopefully get there on the prosperity. So everything is looking reasonably good on this front. I do think that an extra common home over here is probably not a bad idea. We're probably going to need more housing up over this way. So that looks good for now, and we'll just continue working on this. So we can see that we've got the obsidian coming in up over this way at this point. That looks good. And is this bringing in cloth? This one was intended to bring in cloth. The answer to that is not yet. So that's understood. Lack variety in diet. I mean, we're trying. We're growing multiple types of food. So there's that. Let's check in on our granary, actually. So it looks like we have a tiny amount of maize and meat right now. That's different. That's good, but it is different. So we're still waiting on these farms to fully come online, although they're starting to get there. That looks good. And then these farms out over here, this one is lacking farmers, and this one is now also lacking farmers. Okay. So that's a little bit awkward for us, for sure, particularly that this farm is lacking farmers. In fact, that's quite awkward. We certainly want to do something about that, and we're still struggling to get people in out over here. We need access to a sweeper up over here. There is a sweeper here, so that should be fine. Service use is adequate, so it should be okay. No major issue there. That can reach everywhere over on this side. So that looks fine for the moment. And up over here, more education. Yeah, education is going to be a problem out over on this side. I don't expect that to actually be something we address anytime soon. So this home is still needing maize, but we're working on that, hopefully. And then this one down over here, more security. This sentry post will eventually get built, I'm sure. We have stone coming in here, right? Yes, we do. Okay, so that'll eventually happen. lacking our farmers out over here too. So I think that means that we have more desirable jobs in this area than we have workers. That said, we can bring in more residents here. So I feel like we just need to wait for our population to grow on that front. So that's fine for now. And then up over this direction, I want to check in on how this is going. So we're lacking artisans for some of these. 6 out of 8 on this home right now. Okay. And then this home out over here, 6 of 8. This one's 8 of 8. Noted. So that's absolutely fine. We should probably consider an additional common home right here. Let's do it. So that'll be fine, and this area will continue to develop. How are we doing on the construction of this royal palace? We're about half done on that. Okay, that looks good. And on the temple, we are similarly about half done. So I think that these are currently eating up large amounts of our resources constructing those, but that's absolutely fine for right now. We're short of common workers and short of elite workers, but I'm not sure exactly where. We have 272 adult commoners and 304 jobs available. Okay. And then for elites, this isn't actually so bad. We're just short 1. And I think that's this one. That's my theory, anyway. So we're just kind of waiting for our population to grow for a lot of this. We have plenty of housing in some of these areas, so I'm not very concerned about housing out over here, and out over here, I'm not concerned about it. We just need our population to grow, is what this is. So that seems reasonably fine, and up over here, our population is also growing, but we can see that we are getting some production going with our blade nappers and our armorers. Of course, our armorers are going to need salt as well as cotton, so we should probably have this be getting salt. There we go. So we'll balance this, and if we have this on getting, can receive deliveries from other storage venues over any distance so long as the other venue is set to accept or balance the same good. What about import? Because we're set to import salt. So I guess we would need somewhere that's set to balance salt. Interesting. Well, let's still have this set to balance, and that'll be fine. So we'll move some of that salt up over this way. We're definitely struggling to provide enough salt for our setup here. That's looking okay. We actually lost some population, it looks like. Interesting. We're in good happiness right now. So what do we need to work on? Well, absolutely our prosperity. So this hasn't really changed all that much. It doesn't seem to be affected necessarily by wages, although let's bump up our wages. That should definitely make things better on not necessarily the prosperity front, but I think on the city mood front. Well, that's actually based on all of this. Okay. I'm still interested in bringing up our wages, no doubt about that. And let's just keep an eye on our finances, and we'll raise that slowly over time, is the idea. Okay, we're back up to 3970 on the population, so that looks good. And I don't know how that score actually ends up working. Births, deaths, immigration, and emigration. Okay. Noted. So that's not our actual population. Our actual population is 287, in theory. So that seems reasonably fine. We just need a lot of people to come in here, right? Poor nutrition is becoming a problem. Checking up over here, we do have some food in our granary, so that is absolutely noted. I am wondering if this granary can actually reach this market up here. I wonder if we actually have any maize flowing up this way. Well, this is set to balance, so we should be having maize come into this porter yard. So we probably want to consider getting an additional farm field down here So I'm thinking a farmer's hut right here, with the idea being that this is also going to be set to be a primarily maize production setup here. So it would be something kind of like that. And this is going to be a little awkward here, but we can do some fruit trees out over here, right? That is 4. And then 5, 6, 7, and 8, something like that. And then the rest of this would get filled in with chili, and then that would be 32 out of 32 like that. Just trying to stay out of this barren ground here and stick to the grass where possible. So that'll get us a little bit more farmland online, and we can even farm some additional territory up over here, which I'm strongly considering doing, actually. We can put in an additional farmhouse here. And then this would be 8 maize, with this up here being 13, 14, 15, and 16, like that. And then we can put in some fruit trees like this. That would be 2 of those. This would be 3. Actually, no. We need to do this the other way, like this. So that would be 3, 4, 5. And then we could put in 6, 7, like that. And then this last one would be like here, although I don't know how well that would actually grow there. And then chili beds can be, of course, interspersed in here, something kind of like that. That would be 30 out of 32. And then the last 2 could be out over here. Again, I don't know how well that'll grow. Actually, that fertility isn't that much different. Okay, so let's get that going here. That'll be a little bit more farm production, which is, I think, a good thing. I'm pretty sure we need that. So workshops are lacking cotton, salt, and cash. We're trying to import as much salt as we can, but it's not a lot. We absolutely need considerably more salt. Now, I'm noticing our axe monies up over here still being rather positive, although this being year to date is a little bit awkward. No doubt about that. That's a little awkward. Let's bring ourselves up to 100%. But I think we might be running a deficit at 100%. We'll keep an eye on it. So for now, that seems reasonably good, and we're going to get all of this construction done eventually. Yeah, this is only 34% fertility out over here, so that's expected that this is going to be a little rough out over on this side. We're just kind of running out of room over here for farming. So that's okay, and the reason why we need so many farms, of course, is because we can't irrigate. So that's absolutely fine. We could irrigate down here, but then we'd have to, like, I want to have our settlement fully enclosed before, I want to have this objective completed before we go down there. So instead, we are working on farming this area, and it'll be mildly awkward. So that should be reasonably fine. I'm wondering about the reach of these services. They are broadly okay, but not this sentry post. However, do towers give security? Maybe not. If that's the case, then we would need to put in a sentry post. I'm thinking like right up over here. So that should be reasonably fine. We'll get that going. So we still need more workers. We're at 296 out of 306. I want to check in down over here. This is still needing artwork, and I think our artwork is primarily being dedicated to both the temple and the royal palace. Both of those require quite a lot, so that's understood. This sweeper doesn't have anyone working in it right now. 8 of 8, 7 of 8, 8 of 8, and 8 of 8. So we definitely need more housing over here. Let's put in an additional common home right there. That'll be fine. And then, actually, the sweeper now has somebody working in it. Okay, cool. We still want to get this put in here, most likely. We're going to need servants for our royal palace, after all, right? So that is fine. So down over this direction, we still have a lot of job issues. That's for sure. I'm going to put in a common home right here, although I'm not necessarily convinced that that will fix any of this, but if we can get that going, that would be great. I'm just looking at the services here. We're not able to reach this large cottage, but we can reach this one and these, and that might make things a little bit better here. Okay. We can also think about doing... Our tribute was not received. Okay. Yeah. That's understood. Actually, hang on. Our population is high enough. Our prestige is high enough now, even without that. Our might is high enough. We just need to boost our culture and especially our prosperity. So, as I expected, I think our axe monies are... Maybe this isn't year to date. Maybe this is in the last... No, that's definitely got to be year to date. That's definitely got to be year to date. So you can see we're slightly negative, but also sometimes positive. It depends on how we're doing on our trade, right? Minus 673 would have been because we just brought in a big load of obsidian, which is good. We need that obsidian. So that's fine. We're working on exporting a bunch of timber over here. I'm actually going to bring this down to 280 timber. I'm going to bump this up to 200 stone. So that'll be fine, and we can see up in this porter yard, we currently have... Why are we accepting pulp here? Well, I guess it's okay. That'll be for, like, distribution to our markets. Sure, that seems reasonably fine. So down over here, we still definitely have a lack of people here. We're at 298 at this point, and we're at normal mood. So that's definitely not ideal. We're having some significant worker shortages down over this way. So that's definitely a thing. We probably need a collector up over here. Actually, this collector is reaching all of these. We could do another collector potentially here. But we do need to get these constructions finished up. That's going to be a pretty major thing once we get those done. So I'm keeping an eye on our axe monies. It's a bit of a concern. That said, our obsidian is pretty full right now, so that shouldn't be that big of a deal. And we do have cotton buds over here, which we should be working on producing. Yep. So we've got these cotton buds that we are working into cotton, and then of course our armorers up over here, those take in salt and cotton. So we have to import salt. That continues to be a necessity. We continue to not build this up over here, which is, you know, definitely not ideal. We don't have any stone in this porter yard, and that's probably the issue. Is this wall done? Yes, it is. Okay, so that wall is done. This wall is done. This wall is done. So the only wall that we're waiting on at this point is this one. Which, that needs some stone. We would need that stone to flow up here, but I think all of the stone that comes up this way is being diverted up here to go to the Royal Palace right now, is my current theory. We'll see. But for now, our stone production is pretty okay, but we absolutely need some work here. We don't have a servant over here. 5 of 8, 6 of 8. We're back up to good on our city mood, so that's excellent. Enemies are on the march. Okay, that's noted. We'll deal with that in a bit. So yeah, I think we just need population growth more than anything. We need people living in these places. That's what we need. I don't think additional housing over here is what's necessary. So a good way to do that would probably be to bring up our city mood. And prosperity is probably our core issue here. So this has come up a little bit. Certainly a little bit. So I think we need to, well, more maize would definitely be good. We're still sitting at 4 maize in this granary, so these upgrades over here have not really, well, this isn't really getting us everything that we need at this time, right? This is going to be where? Up over here? Sure. So we'll put these guys up on the wall, and we'll just tell everybody to come on out here. There we go. That should be fine. So I'm thinking we're probably going to need some additional farming here. So to that end, we could try to go up here, like that, and farm this area up this way. with the idea being that we'd put the farmhouse like right here, and then we'd farm this and then this up here. We're kind of running out of farming space, though. That's for sure. Are you set to balance maze? Yes, you are. Okay. Just wanted to double check that. So that's looking good. We definitely need to continue to have that flow over, and checking in on this army that's attacking us, this should be reasonably okay. Although this is a large force. No doubt about that. This guy's attacking our wall, and we are not fighting back, but we took this guy out very quickly. So, yeah, we are actually exiting here, which is not ideal. But we should trade very well from the top of this wall. If we exit the wall, things get a little spicier, that's for sure. What is going on here? That person is fighting. And what's this person doing? Fighting. I'm not sure that that's true. I don't know where that guy just went, but sure. So we've done a lot of damage to them, and at this point we could consider coming up and attacking them. Like this. Yeah, I think a sally forth at this point is a good concept, and we'll just come on out here. They have very little left, and we should be able to eliminate them pretty easily, in theory. We're at 304 now, so that's a good sign. Okay, so the enemies have now been beaten, and we'll send our guys on back. We did take some losses, to be sure. But we'll see what these guys are doing. They're patrolling right now, so that seems okay. Excellent. Well, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're hopefully going to grow our population a little bit. We actually only need 4 more commoners, allegedly, but I'm not sure how true that is, because I'm looking through here and, yeah, we need a lot. Bandits, very rude. They stole 10 of our salt. That is actually a very, very rude situation. But it is time to put a cut in, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we'll continue our construction on the Royal Palace and the Temple, which is slowly progressing, and we'll continue to work on our farming. There's this area out over here that we could potentially develop too. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.